Hi, welcome to this is the first of a series of a five-part webinar on metaphysical topics that are interconnected, and yet they can be viewed separately or as a complete series if you binge watch such things. This particular uh, episode, this first episode, is about energy and how to send it, how to receive it, how to use it to your best and highest good. And I hope you enjoy that. So I'm going to actually lead you in several visualizations and some meditations, or just so you can become aware of what energy feels like. People have an innate sense of what feels good or doesn't feel good. And I would say that keenly, what doesn't feel good, you may be more aware of because it keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you out of danger. Energy is like oxygen. You know it's there, but you can't see it, but you can feel it. And I hope this is going to be informative to most people, especially people who haven't had a lot of experience with this. Some people tell me, some of my visitors or clients who come here tell me that they feel blocked. They can't feel their energy. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that, and I'm going to show you how to send it to people who aren't well. Now, there is nothing medical about this. I'm going to tell you that straight up front. I'm not a doctor, or I don't claim to be a healer or any of that. I'm just going to tell you that you can help people energetically by sending them. It's like if you send someone love or you send someone a good positive thought. It's just a little bit more concentrated than that. And I've known many people who were not well. They were very, very physically ill, and they were in a totally different state than the one I live in. And I was able to send them energy, and they could, they would actually verify that they had gotten that energy. So you can do this. It's not difficult. And you may actually find it to be very useful, not just for other people, but for yourself as well. Now, people say, but I can't feel anything. Yes, you can. You do. When you walk into, say, an old building, maybe you go to an old apartment building or old library or theater or something like that, you might walk into that theater and you go, this doesn't feel very well. Or maybe someone's house, you go in and you go, oh, this does not feel very good at all. And that's because some intuitive part of you is saying, alert, alert, like that old Lost in Space series, Danger, Will Robinson. So some part of you is doing that where you may not necessarily know that you are, but you're doing that. And what will happen with that is that you become more and more tuned into it, more aware of it. And as your awareness grows, so too does your ability to use your inherently natural psychic and intuitive gifts. People have different gifts, and some people feel things, some people see things, some people hear things. However you take in that kind of information, the information that you know something's up, but you don't know exactly what it is, how you take it in doesn't matter. It's just that you become aware that you're taking it in. A good example of this is, say, a parent who has a child. The child gets hurt in another location, and all of a sudden the parent's like, oh, I don't feel good about Michael. He might be over there at the schoolyard, and sure enough, Michael's had an accident, or he's having a hard day at school, or whatever it is. But there is a connection between us and between other people. And when it's a very deep connection, like parent-child or best friend or husband or whatever, those connections are also in our awareness, like most of the time. Even somebody, say, you went to school with, you had a close relationship when you were growing up, maybe you haven't seen them for 20 years, and all of a sudden they're in your head, and that's because you still have that energetic connection to them, and you are actually feeling something that they are going through at that moment. A good example of that is when I was much younger. I had gone to school with a certain young man, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this guy. I'm like, that is so weird. I've never thought about that guy in years and years. He was just a friend, nothing more than that. And I tracked him down, called him up, and I said, "This is really weird, but like you keep coming into my mental space here, and I just wanted to make sure you were all right." And he said, "Well, actually, that's really interesting that you should call now because we just had a new baby." And I thought, oh, good, at least it's a good thing. And he wanted to tell everyone he knew. So I guess I picked up that thought mentally or telepathically, and we both had a nice chat, and it was a lovely exchange. And I thought, whoa, that's very strange. And that was early on in my life, uh, as in my metaphysical life, and it was really driving me crazy. Somebody I hadn't thought about for years and years and years, but who was a very good friend. So it was that can happen. So don't negate that. Don't say, oh, this is just weird. Why am I thinking about that person? Or it's not weird. We all have connections to people. It's an energetic connection. Sometimes it's a telepathic connection, which means you are sensing that they need something. Or maybe they're just thinking about you. How many times are you thinking about someone, the phone rings and it's them? It's like you've gotten the message before you've actually answered the phone, or they've gotten your message one way or the other. It runs both ways sometimes. Um, so let's start with a nice long breath. And I'll tell you another thing. I want you to take a breath, try to calm yourself down, try to count in for 8 when you take the breath, hold it for 8, and let it out for 8. Just don't go, don't do that. Try to control your breath, because what happens when you do that is it calms your body down. Physically, it lowers your heart rate, it lowers your blood pressure, it calms your body down, calms your mind down. And that is a good state to be in, because from that place, you can go into a deeper, more altered state, and it makes you much more aware of your surroundings. And so let's just try that for a minute. I'm going to talk, while you do that, I'm going to talk about what meditation does for you. Now, I'll call it meditation. Sometimes with some people, I call it prayer. But I would say in real life, prayer is more like you're thinking out thoughts. Meditation is more like you're trying not to think. That's sort of the difference between those two things. So meditation has some interesting side effects. One is you become more psychically aware. You become more telepathic if you have that capacity. You become more tuned in to all of the influences and people and things around you. And before you ever do any type of metaphysical work, you say a prayer of protection, whatever that is. It doesn't matter what it is. It's what you're comfortable with and what you believe. So I have a prayer I was given many years ago by the beings that helped me on the other side. And that is the key that unlocks the door that allows me to do the work that I do. And it also makes it safe, because, not every entity on the other side is a good entity, and you don't want to open the door to things that aren't good. But you can open the door to your angels, your guidance, your saints, whoever helps you on the other side. I like a number of angels, and even though I'm not Catholic, I talk to saints. I talk to Saint Anthony. He's like my go-to guy. When I really need something, I say, "Oh, please, Saint Anthony, will you help me with this? Will you help bring me this or help me do that?" And he really responds. Michael, the archangel, responds. I've found if you go the Eastern way that Lord Shiva is very responsive to things. So, you know, it doesn't matter which being or entity or person that you pray to or talk to or believe in. And even if you don't have a belief system per se, you can always just generally ask the universe for protection. You don't have to go like it doesn't, religion is not an issue here at all. You just say, you know, let the universe protect me, and you know, you'll get it. You'll get a response. You don't have to worry about who it is. As my guidance says, he says, belief is not a requirement. We're here, whether you believe we're here or not, doesn't matter. We're still here, and that's the truth of it. The belief is not a requirement for the truth. That's what he says, and I believe that. I believe that's true. You don't have to believe in something particular. You know, it doesn't matter if it's Jesus or Buddha or Shiva or Kuan Yin. It doesn't matter. It's whoever works for you. And so what you will do is you'll say some prayer. It can be any prayer. It can be the 23rd Psalm. It can be the Lord's Prayer. It can be a mantra. It doesn't matter. It's what you're comfortable with, and you say it with the intention that it's protection for you. And once you use that prayer and you know it is protecting you, then allow yourself to think of it like a key that is opening the door, a safe door for you to walk through. Now, I have a friend who said to me, I feel protected all the time. What do I need to do that for? And I said, the protection is not for your soul as much as it is for your body. The protection is when you leave your body, if you do, you don't want to leave it without some kind of protection on it, you know, and it's like walking out of your house and not locking the door. You need to lock the door so that you come back and it's not occupied. You don't want squatters dwelling in your house when you're gone. So it's kind of the same way that way. And then he was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. So just in the event you should step out of your body, this is extra protection for you to safely travel where you want to without having to worry about that. So just do it as a precaution, and you can use whatever belief system works for you, and that's perfectly fine. So you will do that first, and when I have people come to have a session with me, as soon as my entities arrive, I don't like to call them entities, they actually prefer to be called beings. When they arrive, you can feel the energy shift. When the angels show up, you can feel the energy shift. It changes. The energy in the room just changes. And if you become aware, more aware, you will be suddenly you'll realize that that has happened. You'll know it. You'll feel it. And don't discount the feeling. Sometimes people feel things and they go, I am just crazy. That is not true. That is not happening. It's not real. It's real. Okay? And you want it to feel good. It should feel like, I always say it's like walking into a sauna. It feels good. You walk in there and it just feels really good. And I've been to some churches like that. I've been to some people's houses that are like that. Sometimes when I'm personally out of body, it feels like that. Now, being out of body feels like it's often called astral travel. It's called an OBE, out of body experience. There are a lot of words for it, but I think it's a natural thing we do. Sometimes we do it in our sleep, most of the time probably. When people say, oh, I had a dream I was flying. Well, I would say they weren't flying, or they were flying, they were out of their body, and they just didn't know how to maneuver while they were out. So it feels like you're flying. And when you're out of your body, you can think a thought, and the thought will take you there. Now, the great yogis of India, and I believe even Jesus did this. I might get in trouble for saying that, but it's what I think. They were able to do what's called biolocation, which means part of them was still in their body, but part of them was somewhere else. And some of the yogis were so good at it, they looked physical to people who were in that other location. Even if they weren't, they still looked like they were there, even if they weren't actually there. And so that is a thing that happens over time with lots and lots of practice. And there are lots of books on how to leave your body and how to get where you'd like to be in the process of doing it. There were some great psychics like Ingo Swann, people like that back in the 50s and 60s who knew how to do that and would do that very frequently. Now, so the first thing to do always is to say a prayer of protection. And suppose you know someone who's not well and they live somewhere you can't get to them. You'll get comfortable. You'll either sit in a chair if that makes you feel good. If you're not physically up to sitting in a chair, you can lay down. It doesn't matter. Or you could even be in your bed first thing in the morning and you're not awake and you're not asleep. Then you're in that kind of twilight place where you can, sometimes people call that lucid dreaming, but I think you have control over it. So if you tell yourself to step out of your body, you will. It's just what happens. It's a natural phenomenon. And a lot of psychic things have phenomenon attached to them, which is different in a way. And it is combined with spiritual things, so that gets a bit complicated. So what you want to do is calm yourself down, say a prayer of protection, and then feel. Now, your body has 7 energy centers. Well, actually it has a few more than that, but it's got 7 major energy centers that the East Indian people call chakras. And they each have been assigned color, and they have been assigned a certain look, supposedly. But the one at the top of your head, your crown chakra, is to invite divine energy in. I believe that one is always open because it connects us to the divine. And then it's the third eye, which is your psychic eye. My being will sometimes say, close your eyes, use this eye. That's what he will say sometimes. Use this eye. Don't use your 2 eyes. So this is your psychic eye. Now, people differ in their color choices. I believe this one is either white or gold because it does connect us to the divine. This one is about it like an indigo. This throat chakra, which is your center of expression, is blue. Your heart chakra is always known to be green, which interestingly enough is also a healing color. Your solar plexus looks like a great big sun. Your sacral chakra, which is very unusual. It took me a long time to figure out how to use that one and what it was really for. But it does, in a strange way, connect us also to divine, not just divine beings, but divine levels, I think, of consciousness. And then your root chakra is at your groin, where it's known as the red chakra, but it also connects you to the earth. And that's very important. You need to be grounded and connected to the earth, and so you're connected to the heavens and you're connected to the earth, and everything else in between should be in perfect alignment. So you can talk yourself through a visual alignment if you'd like to do that. In fact, I think we'll do it right now. So we want to take your breath. You want to hold it, and then you want to let it out. And you want to hold it to the count of 8 if you can do that. You want to do that several times. And then you want to visualize at the top of your head a beautiful golden light coming through the top of your head. Don't be frightened if you feel tingling, if you feel heat or any kind of sensation. That is actually the energy coming through the top of your head. Feel it come down through your third eye. Now, if your eyes are closed, your physical eyes are closed, you may see colors. You may see a variety of colors, or you may just see a white or a gold. You may see sparkly light. Different people see different things. So imagine your third eye, that beautiful indigo colored chakra, opening counterclockwise. Just see it opening, feel it. Think of it like a camera lens opening that way. And when it's open, see if you can see any kind of color or light or image. You might actually see images too. And then you want to come down to your throat chakra. That is our chakra of expression. It's what helps us say what we want. It helps us speak our truth. It helps us be creative. It helps us, musicians use the throat chakra very well. Writers, people who speak to audiences, that kind of thing. The throat chakra is very important for creative things especially, but for all of us, it is important to speak our truth with the throat chakra open. It's easier to do that. It is a beautiful blue. Any version of blue that makes you happy is very good. It is not like the chakras are one-dimensional. They actually are three-dimensional, and they go from the front of your body to the back. We just always think of them as being in the front. So if you feel something at the back, at your back, that is tingling, it's fine. Don't worry about that. It's part of the chakra actually opening. Then you want to go down to your heart chakra, and it resonates green. And when I see mine, it looks like a beautiful kind of Colombian emerald green. And it is a very fluid color. And some people's hearts, if they've been banged around a lot in life, are very difficult for them to open. So you have to visualize a beautiful spinning wheel that opens very gradually and gently. And as it opens, this beautiful green color that you see, and see it in your mind, because your thoughts have force. And when you think it opens, it opens. As you open it, release all of the pain that you feel, any grief that you feel, anything that's bothering you today, just release it. You don't need it. Don't keep it. Let go of it. Let your mind not go there. Whatever your issues are, just let go of them. You don't have to think about them right now. You need to be in this moment with me, right now, right here. Just be in this moment with me. And let all of that baggage, that excess baggage go. You don't need it. If you've lost someone, let the pain of it go. If you have an argument with someone, let the pain and the anger of that go. Let your heart be what it's supposed to be, which is a beautiful, pure channel of energy and love and light. And just feel that swamp your body, turn loose of the burdens that are hanging on your shoulder, and just let them go. And now pull that light down into your solar plexus, which think of that as a beautiful golden sun. Feel it expanding. And for those that use your digestive parts of your body as an emotional place for your pain and your stress to go, turn it loose. Let that sun get bigger and bigger and bigger. Tell yourself you no longer have digestive issues, that you are not in pain, that you are not frightened, that you are all you are supposed to be at this moment. You are your heart, you are your soul, and you are what you are supposed to be. Not what other people expect you to be, what you're supposed to be. And you'll feel that open and become warmer and warmer, and it'll radiate because this is where the core of your life is. Many people think it's your heart. It's actually your solar plexus. That's the core of you. And it's beautiful, beautiful gold light. And now we're going to go down to the sacral chakra, which is orange. And it's not a normal orange. It's an extraordinary orange. It is a divine orange. It is a color that you cannot see in nature. It is a color that connects you to a different place, different time, different level of consciousness and being. So imagine this beautiful orange. Whatever comes to mind is the orange it's supposed to be. And feel it open there. You'll feel it. You'll actually feel it in your lower gut. It's between your solar plexus and your root chakra. It's right in the middle. So feel that shining. Feel it. Let it expand and expand. Let it search for your guidance. Let it search for your angels. There you go. Just feel it. And now you probably have noticed that you're starting to vibrate a little bit. And maybe you don't feel quite like yourself. Maybe it feels a little odd. But you're warm and you're comfortable. And you're allowing yourself not to think about the things that bother you. Don't go there. Now, I suggest that when you do this kind of exercise, you actually put a blanket on, because in lowering your heart rate, your blood pressure, and all of that, you may get chilly. So if you're laying down and doing this especially, you want to cover up. So now let's move down to the root chakra. And the root chakra is very important. It's red. It's a vivid, beautiful red. And imagine it's not only connecting up all of the other chakras, it's see the energy of the root chakra going right down your legs and into the earth, through your feet, your two chakras in the bottom of the soles of your feet, and into the earth. Just see that. What this does is when you're not feeling quite yourself, it puts you in a place where you're more comfortable. And it's relaxing, and it grounds you. It makes you feel like you're not going to float away somewhere. And in having it go into the earth, you're speaking to the earth. And we are both body and soul. And our soul is connected to our crown and our heart and our solar plexus. But the root is connected to the earth. And you can thank Mother Earth, whatever name you call her, for allowing you to have a place to put your feet. Now, all of your chakras are in alignment. Turn your palms of your hands up, and you're probably going to feel an interesting sensation in both the center of your palms, each hand. If you're right-handed, your right hand is your sending hand. If you're left-handed, your left hand is your sending hand. Likewise, if you're right-handed, your left hand is your receiving hand. If you're left-handed, then your right hand is your receiving hand. So you've got one sending hand, one receiving hand. Whatever hand you write with is your sending hand. If you use both hands equally, you can go either way with that. So it's not like you have a definite, and some people can use both hands regardless in terms of sending energy. So, but just know that. So like if you're working on someone in person, your right hand is the one that sends if you're right-handed. And if you are, and you use your left hand differently, you use it for grounding and for receiving. And it's the opposite if you're left-handed. So just feel with your palms up, feel your whole chakra system, your whole energy body. Feel it. Feel it. Feel it from the top of your head down to the soles of your feet and through the palms of your hands. And what you're doing is you're pulling divine energy through your body, and you can visualize it going out through your hands. Now, just sit a minute and feel that. Just feel that and know that this is your true self. Let all your burdens go. Feel the energy run down through your spine, through your hip joints, your shoulder joints, your knees, your ankles. Let it go through every part of your body. If you have one particular part of your body that does not feel healthy or well, then send the energy to that part of your body. Just visualize it going there. Your thoughts have force. And having force, the thought will take you to where the energy needs to go. Now, you don't have to manipulate the energy. The energy has got its own intelligence. It knows where to go. So allow it to circulate, and you'll feel that. And you can see all of the colors in your field, and you visualize a beautiful white light over all of the colors, and then a gold light on the outside. And that serves as protection for you. It's psychic protection. When you're out during the course of the day and you're in the grocery store, people have got screaming kids or having arguments on their cell phone, they're putting out their own energy. A lot of it's not very positive. So before you go in, you can create this field. It's like a force field. It's like the energy field from the Starship Enterprise or something like that. You can think of it that way if you want to, but it's a force field that protects you, naturally protects you from other people's negative thoughts. And those things are extremely important, especially if you're walking into situations that aren't by nature very good. If you're going to a hospital, if you're going to a nursing home, or places where many people have passed, or places, even battlefields. I live in a state that has a lot of history, and a lot of the places in my state have been places where wars have taken place. So, you have to be particularly cautious in places like that. So you want to make sure that your energy field is very clean and very good. And if you find you just can't clear it yourself, you can take a bath in salt, or you can take a coffee bath, run some coffee through your coffee maker, and then let the coffee cool off. Of course, you don't want it to be hot. And then take it with you in a different type of container into the shower or into the tub, and pour it over your entire body, and then just take a shower like you naturally would, so that you get clear. And be sure you're standing in it, because it's awfully important to have your feet in that coffee. And you want to do that for 3 to 7 days, depending on how you feel. If you feel like you've been in a place that's sort of rough and you can't get balanced, that's a good way to get balanced. And if you just need a tune-up, sometimes a traditional bath in salt, and it can be Himalayan pink salt or sea salt or bath salt, it doesn't matter. Refined salt doesn't work very well because it's been refined, but any other type of salt is great. And in fact, I use pink Himalayan salt with garlic across the threshold of my front door and at my back door as an added measure of protection, in case people have attachments that I really don't want to invite into my house. That kind of stops that from happening. So you might also want to do a little ritual that way. People smudge, and I understand that's a great thing to do. I do that too. But it doesn't help if people bring things into your house. That's like an invitation. So if you put some salt right under your front door where people can't see it, it works just fine. You know, it keeps things out. It's like a repellent. Things will not come in if you have salt across your door. It's an old traditional method of taking care of yourself energetically. And clearing your house also is a good energetic practice. And in doing that, you can do it with smoke, you can do it with sound, you can do it with actually sprays. A lot of people make sprays out of essence, herbal essences, and flower essences that are quite effective if you get someone who knows what they're doing that makes those. And to smudge or to use Palo Santo, which is a very high vibrational smoke. I think it's a little higher than sage, actually, in terms of frequency. I think that the Palo Santo, which you can buy online or you can get at a crystal shop or something, metaphysical bookstore, something like that, you can get them that way. They usually come in a large package of sticks, and they last a long time. So they work really well, and they're extremely good for clearing spaces that don't feel good to you. Or maybe you have somebody who comes to your house and they're having an issue with depression or something like that. And, you know, they leave a little residue, so it's good to clear up afterwards. That's a good thing to do. Some people put holy water with salt or rose oil in a spray bottle and spray it. That works just as well. If you want to make your own spray, you can do that too. So those are things that you can do that will raise the vibration in your house. And the vibration, to say that just means the energy is functioning on a different frequency. It's like taking your radio, the old-fashioned radios, and tuning the channel. You want to get on a channel that is of a better quality. You want to get a clear, perfect channel. So in doing that, you also want to get your own energy at that place, and you want to get your house at that place. I hang wind chimes in my house because sound is a very good way to raise the energy in your house. And also I have a Tibetan singing bowl. I use them sometimes. I use quartz crystal bowls sometimes. So there are different ways to make your house at a very good frequency. I also keep the fire burning in the wintertime, not only because it's freezing cold in here, but also because it really does help raise the vibration of the room. And it's a very comforting thing too. So those are things you can do to make your house clear and to make it work better. If you declutter your house, that raises the vibration. If you get rid of things you no longer need, that's very helpful. So there are many things you can do to raise the vibration of your house, and in doing that, you're raising your own vibration. I also use quartz crystals to do that. I have crystals everywhere. And when I meditate, let me show you. Let me just grab this other one. Let me show you. When I meditate, these are the crystals I use. They are cold right now, but the more I use them, the warmer they get usually. And you can see this one's nearly completely clear. And this one is an interesting story. It is not as clear as the other one, but it will eventually clear up. This used to be milky quartz, and now it's partially clear. And that comes when you meditate with crystals. But they are like very akin to us. They are composed of the same substances that we are in terms of what they're made of, and therefore we have a resonance with them. There are many other types of stones and minerals and crystals that you can use, but I really have an affinity for quartz. I always tell people, you know, don't give me diamonds, just give me quartz. That'll be just fine. I'm good with that. And I tell them, if there was a quartz crystal in the bottom of a closet in the dark under a bunch of stuff, I would probably find it, because I really love them so much. And they speak to me, and some people they do speak to. And that, again, is another form of energy that can help you raise the vibration in your house or wherever you happen to be. And let me tell you something else. If you take your hand and you put them together You'll start to feel warmth here in the palms, both palms. And what I want you to do is to do that. If you need to clap a couple times, you can do that. And then you're going to want to move your hands away from each other. And you'll start to feel sort of an invisible energy between the two hands as you pull your hands away. And then what you do is you can send energy from one hand to the other hand, like that. You can feel it. Just bounce it back and forth. There you go. Just try it. You'll feel it. It feels warm when you do that. It might feel tingly. Depends on how you register that. So you'll feel that. Now, if you don't feel it, you're probably blocking it. But practice. With practice, sometimes that helps. Now, another way to see your own energy is to douse it. I know a lot of people that douse. I don't douse a lot because that just isn't efficient for me because of my capacity for certain things. But a lot of people douse everything. They douse their food. They douse their where they should go, where they should park. I mean, they douse everything. I just can't do that. But I'm going to show you. You hold your pendulum, and your pendulum. This is just nothing but a pendant on a chain. It's a cheap chain, a cheap pendant, and I like it. It's kind of got some weight to it. It's kind of heavy. It does have a black cat on it. I love cats. I particularly like black cats, even though cat that I have is white version. But I've had black cats, and I like them very much. This is just a pendant with a black cat on the bottom of it. And what you do is you want to take it, kind of straighten the chain out. And I like this one because it has some weight, but absolutely anything will work. You do not have to go out and buy a particular pendulum. You can get them commercially made. Sometimes they have a quartz crystal or amethyst or whatever on the bottom, and they're kind of made like in a triangular shape, some of them. And some people like to do that. I just use what I can find. So what you want to do is hold it with your thumb and your forefinger, your index finger and your middle finger there. You want to hold it right between those three things like that, just like that. Okay? I'm going to, and I kind of, if you're just learning, you might want to choke up some, but I'm going to let this out a little bit. And I like to, because I'm a little compulsive, I like to have it straight. I like to have the chain straight. Okay? So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Now, this is my receiving hand because I'm right-handed, but I cannot hold that with all right, let me hold as still as I can. Hold on. There we go. So I'm going to hold as still as I can. I'm not a very steady anyway, but you'll see it start to swing. And what it's doing is you're going to notice that it's swinging over my chakra. Let me think it wider. Think wider. Think wider. Show me the edge. Show me the edge. Show me the edge. Show me the edge. Bigger, bigger, bigger. This is actually pretty good considering this is my receiving hand, but that's all right. Bigger, bigger, bigger. And like I said, it's hard for me to hold still. Now stop. Thank you. So you can douse every one of your chakras. You could practice on other people. Sometimes it's a lot easier. It's very difficult for me to like put this over my head. Let me see if I can do that. I can probably put my elbow on the chair. Maybe that will work. Or not. Okay, let's see. Get it right over your chakra like that. I don't know if I can get it right where it belongs. There it is, I think. Open, open, open. I don't think I'm steady enough to do it from this angle. I don't think I can do it. Oh, I didn't have my elbow. Oh, hold on. Can't tell where it is exactly. Oh, there it is. Oops. Shoot, I lost. There it goes. There we go. Go ahead. Spin. Thank you. Bigger, bigger, bigger. Funny, it doesn't want to seem to show you that, but it's there. It's hard to do this on yourself, but you can do it. Hang on. Let me see if I sit up straight as that doesn't help. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Bigger, bigger, bigger. No, doesn't want to show you that. That's really funny. Maybe I just don't have it in the right position. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's what you do. It's easier to do it on my palm than it is on the top of my head because it's so hard on my shoulder. But anyway, I have a anyway. Try it. You practice it, and other people do this. They will actually ask the pendulum questions, but I don't do that normally. That's just not what I do. But some people do, and you can ask it to. Some people who are really good at it, if it swings clockwise, it means one thing. If it swings counterclockwise, it means something else. I don't do that because I don't need to. But and I was never convinced that that would really work with me. But for some people, they do it and it works very well for them. So try it. It takes some practice. If you're frightened of it, that usually stops it from spinning. And you can't be frightened of it to make that work. But that is your energy. Now, how do you get your energy from you and whatever part of your body you want to send it to someone else? I actually have a friend that sends me energy, believe it or not, from Great Britain. He's an older man. He was a plumber. And now he just sends energy to friends or family or whatever. And he's very good at it. And he's been helping me quite a lot. But if I get in a meditative state and we make an appointment, just like I was going to Great Britain to have him work on me, we make an appointment, but I'm here, he's there. And he is such a pure channel. He's able to send me energy. And it's so strong that I can feel it even here. So your energy is not limited by space and time. It is not limited by distance. It is not limited to the fact that somebody's on the other side of the world. One thing that may happen is if you send it and they're not specific, it may go to somebody else who maybe needs it more. I mean, it has sort of an intelligence to it because it's divinely gifted to you, you know? Okay, so let's try to send energy to somebody that we know who maybe they just need it. Maybe they're not having a good day. Maybe they are not feeling very well. Maybe they're in the hospital. I don't know. It doesn't matter what is wrong with them. And you don't have to say they're in the hospital and they have a gallbladder issue. You don't have to send it to the gallbladder. You can just send it and it'll go where it needs to go. And maybe you don't know that they're having, you know, some other issue, and maybe they will tell you later. You should always get permission from the person. Either if they're in a coma, you have to ask them if they're higher self. But if they're not, you know, and you can ask them verbally, that's the best way to do it because then they're receptive. And you might say, okay, I'm going to send you, like with my friend in Great Britain, he'll say, okay, we'll do it Wednesday. It'll be 2 o'clock my time and 9 o'clock your time. That's fine. That's great. So, you know, we make an appointment, and that's how it works. So if you can make an appointment just to practice, it doesn't hurt to practice, and that's how you get better. You know, you don't play the piano today and just go straight to playing a Chopin nocturne. It doesn't work that way, generally speaking. You have to learn scales, and you have to learn notes, and you have to learn arpeggios and all of those things before you're actually maybe get into a Chopin nocturne. That's a pretty high standard of piano playing or musical aptitude, I think. But the point is you can get there, but you got to practice every day, or at least every several times a week, maybe, whenever you can. And when you are practicing, let me say this because it's important. Be sure the people that live in the house with you, if they do, know that they should not touch you when you are doing this. Because if you are out of your body and they touch you, it'll slam you back into your body. And it's very disconcerting. And it's very, it's like if you fall off a ladder onto the ground and it knocks your breath out of your body. You know, it's like it hurts like that. That's what this is sort of like. Once you get slammed back into your body that way, it's really quite difficult. I'll tell you another thing while I'm thinking about that, and that is I have run into so many people who've had car accidents or motorcycle accidents, or they've fallen off a ladder or fallen down the stairs, or they've had some kind of emotional trauma, what happens to them sometimes? Suppose the car accident is on this side. Well, they're out over here. And, you know, you go to the hospital, they might fix your leg or whatever, but they're not going to put your, you know, your energy or your beingness back into your body. You know, somebody else who knows how to do that needs to do that. And so if you ever try to do some like healing work with your hands or energy work with your hands, you may discover like there's no energy here, and you're like, that's kind of odd. But over here, it's like out a foot, and that's because they're out over here, or they're out in the back, or they're out in the front. And if you start asking some questions like, did you ever have an accident? Did you ever fall off? And then they'll say, well, yeah, I did. I actually had two, or I fell off a ladder, or fell down the stairs, or I had this hard hit when I'm, or if they've had a very emotionally traumatic life, sometimes people step out because it's easy, you know, and they don't even know they're out. And so if they've been out for a long, long time, sometimes putting them back in is difficult. And when you put them back in, you just kind of do that. You do it really slow, and you kind of do like that, and it makes it. You can tell, you can feel when it's, and it'll snap. It'll feel like a snap, like it snapped back in. And sometimes if a person's been out a long time, you have to do it more than once, because after you're out a while, you don't want to go back in. So, but what they discover once they're back in is they're like, wow, I can think straighter. I can feel a little more clear. I feel a little bit more grounded. You know, they notice when they're not in like they're supposed to be. It has a physical effect on them, you know, in a way that, you know, defies words, defies logic, defies sense, but it's true. It is true. And people, I think, earlier in our historical lives were more tuned into things like that, you know. We've lost that because of our technology, or because we live in a very modern situation that has a lot of mechanical, electrical, digital things that was, you know, not the case many, many years ago. So even in my lifetime, I know how many things have changed, but we need to be more tuned in, and more tuned into the earth, and more tuned into nature, and then we'll be more tuned into ourselves, and not just to our body, but to the core of our being, the essence of us. And that's important. So let's try to, as I said a minute ago, let's try to send some energy to someone we know that's not well. So I want you to take the breath. There you go. Calm down. Feel the energy that we worked up earlier. Feel the energy still coming down to the top of your head, through all your chakras, down to your feet. And feel yourself release all your burdens and all your stress. Now close your eyes. There you go. Don't think about anything but a person that you know you might need your energetic help. Okay. So start to see that person in your mind. See where they are. And don't discount what you see. You may actually see it. So imagine the person in your mind. What are they wearing? What do they look like? Where are they? Try to look at the energy that surrounds their bodies, because they have the same energy that you have. But maybe if they're not feeling well, some part of their energy will tell you that on their body. When I see someone in pain, it looks red to me. When I see somebody who's not doing very well, who is very close to transition, then I don't see much energy at all. So look at the person, and where is their energy? What does it look like? Where are they having pain? Okay, once you've figured that out, imagine energy coming from the top of your head, down through your arms, out through the palm of your hand. Imagine that you are with that person, you're reaching that person with your thought, with your spirit, with your heart, with your hand. Let the energy go wherever it needs to. You don't have to think about it. You don't know where to go. You don't have to do anything. You just send the energy to them. See them wrapped up in white light, gold light. Green light is the healing color. Blue is also a healing color. Purple is also a healing color. But gold is a very high vibrational color, and white is a very healing, clearing color. So send the color that feels right to you, that feels good, and let that go. You feel it go from yourself. Let it go. Let it go. That's it. That's it. And when the connection is made, allow that energy to stay there. Then you can disconnect and bring yourself back. There you go. It doesn't take any time to come back. You just think about your body and your back. And feel yourself as whole and complete. Zip yourself up so that you're in. There you go. So I want to thank you for coming to today's webinar, and I hope you will join me for the other 4. This webinar has been sponsored by the Echo World and Langevin Axelson Marketing. And I hope you will read the Echo World, where I sometimes contribute articles. And this is Angelica Blackmoon, and I hope you come to see the next session. Thank you very much.